Exposed. My son's fiancée mocked me in French at dinner. Discover the incredible truth I revealed. Anna stood in her dimly lit kitchen, the air thick with the aroma of rosemary and garlic. Her heart raced as she prepped for dinner, mixing simmering sauces and arranging fresh greens on a pristine white plate. She should have felt pride, joy even, at this celebration of Jake's engagement. But that anticipation twisted in her stomach, churned by unease. The beautiful Camille was on her way, a Parisian débutante who made Anna question if she was enough. What would she think of the life Anna built? When Camille arrived, all poise and elegance, the atmosphere buzzed like a live wire. Jake beamed at her, but Anna felt a suffocating knot tighten in her chest. Each perfectly timed laugh from Camille echoed harshly, as if designed to remind Anna of her struggles, the late shifts, the nights spent cramming to pass her nursing exams, all while raising Jake alone. Then it happened. A seemingly innocuous joke in French fell from Camille's lips. Her laughter rang like an off-key note, and within moments Anna understood. She was the punchline. In an instant Anna felt the walls close in. That familiar shame washed over her, a tidal wave of doubt, and memories of being that young mother on the outside looking in rushed back. More than a decade of hard work reduced to a single cruel moment of mockery. Anna clenched her jaw, battling the urge to react. How had she allowed this to happen? She was a nurse, skilled and compassionate, yet here she felt like a relic of a bygone era, an awkward mother compared to the elegance of her son's fiancé. Pressing her palms against the table's edge, she steadied herself, anchored by a fierce maternal instinct emerging from the chaos. No one would embarrass her family, not now. While washing the dishes later that night, Anna's thoughts spiraled. Driven by a craving for the truth, she turned to the internet. What was Camille hiding beneath that polished exterior? The more layers Anna peeled back, the more injustices surfaced: privilege wrapped in strategies of deceit, a family history tangled in paradoxes of wealth and exploitation. Each revelation lit a flame of empowerment within her, igniting a vision of what lay ahead instead of merely surviving. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The dinner was set for a follow-up gathering, tension crackling like static in the air. Anna meticulously placed each fork and knife, her resolve hardening with every careful adjustment. As the evening wore on, Camille's bravado flickered before her mentor's words filled the room, stories of resilience and integrity that left traces of doubt lining Camille's composed facade. Anna's breaths quickened as she sensed the pivotal moment nearing. The conversation hung heavy, shifting like the wind, until Camille caught Anna's eye with an unexpected vulnerability. "You don't really know me, do you?" The challenge quivered between them as silence enveloped the table, and Anna felt the weight of her convictions. Everything she had worked for, everything she feared losing, balanced on the precipice of revelation. Tension coiled tighter, drawing nearer to the moment of truth that could redefine their lives forever. The air in the room felt electric as Anna stared at Camille, the question hanging like a heavy curtain. Anna's mind raced, thoughts colliding like waves breaking on a rocky shore. Was this the opening she had been subconsciously waiting for, the chance to confront the young woman whose laughter had eviscerated her spirit? "I know enough," Anna countered, her voice steady, reflecting the resolve that had been building inside her since that painful dinner. There was a tremor of defiance laced within her words. The weight of years spent battling societal judgments and personal insecurities surged within her. The moment felt monumental, almost like a rebirth into a version of herself committed to standing her ground. Camille narrowed her eyes, the mask of composure faltering. "But do you know the truth beneath the surface? Do you know what it's like to be scrutinized for every flaw, to feel like you're not living up to some perfect image?" Camille's vulnerability felt like a double-edged sword, striking at both their insecurities. Anna could see the truth behind those polished statements. This woman was not simply the embodiment of privilege and beauty. She too bore scars. Anna felt a rush of empathy mingled with her anger. They were bound by a shared experience of judgment, though their circumstances differed vastly. Here was a chance not just to confront Camille but to truly understand her as well. But first, Anna knew she needed to reclaim her narrative, one that had been submerged under waves of comparison and inadequacy. I spent years doing everything I could to support my son, working multiple jobs, going back to school, Anna said, her voice progressively rising with her courage. And along the way, I had no time for facades or elaborate stories. What I offered him was reality, a foundation built on hard work, grit, and honor. The tension in the room shifted. Camille squirmed momentarily, but a flicker of acknowledgement passed through her expression. It illuminated the dual struggle they faced, one rooted in familial expectations, the other in societal pressures. What Anna hadn't anticipated was the surprise that surfaced within her, a latent strength, a newfound understanding of her own worth. She might not have been from a world of elegance and wealth, but she had built something meaningful from struggles and sacrifices. Embracing this realization freed a part of her she hadn't known was still shackled by doubt. I'm not ashamed of my life, Anna continued, keeping her eyes locked on Camille's. And I won't let anyone make me feel otherwise. You may see my modest life as lacking, but it's enriched with love and resilience. Maybe it's you who doesn't know me, and the truth might be as complex as you claim it to be. With the echo of her words lingering in the air, Anna paused, absorbing the moment. Camille blinked, tightly gripping the edge of the table, the veneer of her confidence beginning to crack. Fortune and privilege had cloaked Camille's story, but it was now entangled with Anna's reality. Perhaps, Camille said slowly, uncertainty creeping into her voice, we're more alike than we think. The shared gaze began to bridge the vast chasm formed by their upbringings. A potential alliance, or perhaps a confrontation of truths buried deep within each of them, took shape. As they lingered in this uncertain silence, Anna's mind swirled with questions. What would the implications of this newfound mutuality be? Was there room for understanding and change between them? More importantly, how would Jake fit into this unfolding drama? The moment of discovery loomed, pressing against them like the weight of unspoken truths. Anna sensed this was only the beginning of unraveling layers that each had built over years. The next chapter of their intertwined journey awaited, a narrative yet to be defined, with everything at stake. The charged silence hung between them like a taut wire, an unspoken acknowledgement that the ground beneath their feet had shifted irrevocably. Anna absorbed Camille's hesitance, her own feelings tangled in a web of vulnerability and newfound assertiveness. Here was a rare opportunity to redefine their relationship, to shed the layers of judgment and competition that had overshadowed their previous interactions. Anna's heart raced, light and shadow dancing across the room. She had long been the underdog, driven by necessity, and now she saw the untapped potential within her. The patterns of self-doubt that she clung to like a second skin began to wane, replaced by the resolve to forge a different path, not just for herself, but also for Jake. Let us be honest, Anna proposed, her voice steady and deliberate. We've both played our parts in this drama. I'm tired of the masks. She felt the warmth of her honesty radiate within her, driving away fears that had lingered like ghosts. This wasn't just about Camille's role in her life. It was a confrontation with her own perception of worthiness. Camille's lips parted, the mask breaking under the weight of the moment. What do you mean? She asked, her brow furrowing. Even in vulnerability, there was a flicker of defiance, a remnant of the facade that had kept many people at bay. But Anna was not just anyone. I mean, we've both been trapped in our worlds, yours of privilege and mine of necessity. What if we could learn from each other? Anna pushed, trying to bridge that chasm that had kept them in opposition for too long. Isn't it time we stop measuring ourselves against each other and start understanding our realities? Camille's eyes widened, perhaps with surprise or realization. It was difficult to determine, but Anna could feel the shift begin to forge a connection rather than a divide. I've never thought of it that way, Camille finally admitted, her voice softening. The edge of her defensiveness trembled, revealing a more intricate story waiting to be uncovered. Anna sensed her own trepidation ebbing into the background. Each moment of honesty was like a key unlocking doors to deeper understanding. I've spent too long believing that my worth is defined by who I am compared to you, or anyone else really, Anna confessed. I've been hiding beneath my own doubts rather than facing them. The journey toward authenticity wasn't merely an act of courage. It was also an act of consolidation. For so long, Anna's identity had been woven through the perception of failure or triumph dictated by others. Realizing this now was a revelation. In her willingness to expose her vulnerabilities, she felt empowered rather than scared. "I admit, it's hard to let go of expectations," Camille murmured. Her tone was laced with a fragile honesty that disarmed Anna once more. "They're drilled into us from such a young age. But maybe we can help each other find a way out." The thought resonated deeply, sparking ideas of potential dialogue, of sharing experiences that could dismantle their preconceived notions about themselves, about each other. What if they both placed their insecurities on the table and navigated the complexities of their narratives together? The idea was exhilarating yet daunting, a pathway lined with risks. In that moment, Anna felt the cornerstones of her aspirations solidifying. She sought not only to redefine what it meant for women like them to coexist, but to establish a bond beyond societal constructs. It had to be built on respect and empathy. "Let us start fresh," Anna proposed, her mind spinning with possibility. "Tonight could become the turning point for both of us. We take the first step together." They exchanged tentative glances, walls still high but eerily crumbling. Uncertainty lingered, but so did a mutual determination to explore this newfound understanding. Amid the burgeoning connection, Anna's thoughts drifted to Jake. How would he take the transition? Could he understand the depth of complexity between his mother and Camille? The questions piled in her mind, demanding answers as they forged a new path. Anna's breath hitched. It was exhilarating, terrifying, and pregnant with unresolved tensions. This redefining moment could fracture or fortify their realities. But one thing was increasingly clear. Transparency was no longer an option. It was essential. As their eyes locked, the undercurrents of the discussion solidified into a profound awakening, echoing a promise to each other and to themselves. Where would they go from here? The journey had just begun, and within it lay a potential shift that neither could ignore. What truth would reveal itself when they both delved deeper into their shared experiences? Anna braced herself, knowing that every revelation could lead to risk or redemption. The next conversation loomed large in the shadows, waiting just out of reach. Anna exhaled slowly, her heart still racing after the fragile yet electrifying exchange with Camille. Every gaze lingered with unquantifiable potential, an invitation to peel back layers of themselves that had long been ignored. "Before we dive deeper," Camille said finally, her fingers drumming the edge of the table, a nervous habit Anna hadn't noticed before. "What do we even talk about? What's real for us?" Her question echoed in Anna's mind, forcing her to confront the precarious balance of honesty and fear that still held sway. "I suppose we begin with our own truths," Anna said, choosing her words with care. "And how they V-shaped us." The phrase felt monumental, laden with the weight of vulnerability. They both fell silent, a shared understanding blossoming amidst the uncertainty. Anna's thoughts drifted back to Jake. He was their common thread, an innocent whose perception of their worlds was untainted. Yet he deserved clarity from both women. But she wasn't ready to involve him in the complexities brewing between her and Camille just yet. They needed to forge a foundation first. "What if we acknowledged our fears?" Anna suggested, intrigued by the idea of exposing their insecurities. "What holds us back?" Camille's expression shifted, a hint of surprise sparking in her eyes. It was a challenge, no doubt, and the walls between them felt harsher again. "All right," she replied tentatively. "I fear that my worth is tied solely to my family's legacy. I grew up with that expectation, and every slip-up feels like a betrayal." Anna listened, sensing a profound resonance in Camille's admission. She, too, had felt the suffocating weight of expectations. "For me," Anna began, her voice steadier than her racing heart, "it's about being seen as a failure. Every time I pave a new avenue full of hope, there's a voice that shouts you're not enough." The confession hung between them, an uncomfortable truth laid bare. Camille looked away for a moment, her expression processing the imagery of Anna's struggle. "That's deep," Camille sighed, her defensive posture softening. "I never knew you felt that way. Maybe we've all been fighting battles others can't see." Anna responded, feeling a strange unification forming from their wounds. They were redefining their realities, forcing each other to confront what lurked beneath polished surfaces. As they delved deeper, images of hope began to curl through Anna's mind. The concept of having someone walk alongside her on this journey shifted from daunting to liberating. They could pivot their narratives together, sharing their burdens while still striving for individual growth. The conversation took a surprising turn when Camille mentioned her relationship struggles, a topic Anna hadn't expected but welcomed eagerly. As Camille laid bare the complexities of her engagement to someone who saw her through a lens of entitlement rather than achievement, Anna began to understand the hidden influences in her own life. Jake admires me, but does he see the real me, or just the version I've allowed him to know? Anna pondered aloud, a question that would haunt her when she least expected it. Camille's gaze grew contemplative, mirroring her thoughts. Suddenly, Anna was filled with an electric urgency to confront the next phase of her evolution. I want him to know I'm trying to grow, she stated, feeling her resolve harden. Not to be suffocated by past identities. We both deserve more. Then let us do that, Camille replied, determination glimmering in her eyes. They could be each other's allies in confronting weak points, navigating the uncertain path ahead, as they dismantled the walls of their perceptions. But even as Anna felt the clarity sharpen, a flicker of doubt skittered through her. Would this newfound alliance survive scrutiny? How would Jake perceive the changing dynamics, especially if he became aware of the layers they were trying to peel back? The air felt heavy with shared possibility, yet a whisper of unease curled in her thoughts. What other truths lay beneath their facades waiting to be unearthed? Anna felt poised on the precipice of something transformative, yet the weight of their confessions hinted at revelations that could shake their fragile connection yet again. What lies waited in the depths of Camille's experiences? As Anna braced herself for every revelation, she sensed they were on the verge of discoveries that would alter the fabric of their realities profoundly. What awaited them just beyond the next conversation loomed large, full of promise and peril. As the next dawn broke, Anna's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, a chaotic blend of hope and hesitation. Her conversation with Camille kept replaying in her head like a loop. Each word they exchanged felt both electrifying and heavy, leaving imprints on her psyche. Today marked a crossroads. She knew the next step she took would either solidify their budding alliance or fracture it under the weight of their revelations. She rose early, her instinct compelling her to grapple with her thoughts before meeting Jake for brunch. The warm sunlight streamed through her window, casting a glow on the clutter of her life books on personal development, sketches for her next project, and scattered reminders of what she wanted to achieve. Each item whispered potential, yet a nagging voice urged her to confront her fears first. In the mirror, Anna studied her reflection. The uncertainty in her eyes mirrored the turmoil she felt within. How did her image differ from the woman she aspired to become? Had she been living up to her potential, or merely performing roles expected of her? A surge of determination coursed through her. It was time to shed those earlier layers and present the rawest version of herself not just to Jake, but to the world. As she prepared for brunch, Anna recognized an unfamiliar edge to her determination. It held the intensity of someone ready to reclaim her narrative. She dressed thoughtfully, opting for a simple yet authentic look, devoid of the forced perfection she often wrapped herself in. Today there would be no facade. She was ready to confront her evolving identity. Jake greeted her with a warm smile as they settled at their favorite cafe, a familiar spot that had become a refuge of comfort amidst their busy lives. Yet today, Anna sensed a shift beneath the surface, a collective tension that hinted their connection was poised for evolution. "So, what's on your mind today?" he asked, stirring his coffee. The casual tone did little to mask the concern lurking beneath. Taking a deep breath, Anna seized the moment. "Jake, I've been thinking a lot about who I am, and who I want to be. I feel like I'm on the brink of some important changes in my life and relationships." The admission rolled off her tongue easier than she anticipated, as if that truth had been waiting to escape. His brows furrowed, a hint of curiosity merging with concern etched across his features. "What kind of changes?" "I don't want us to be defined by the past," she continued, feeling an unexpected surge of courage. "I want to grow, and I need you to see me as I am, not the person I've allowed you to know." The urgency in her voice surprised her. Vulnerability came with its own power. Jake's mouth opened slightly. "Is this about you working with Camille?" The question came out softer than she expected. His intention was clear, he simply wanted to understand. "Yes, but also more than that. I'm confronting some fears and vulnerabilities about myself. I want us to build something real, but I can't do that while hiding parts of myself. A silence settled between them, heavy with implications. Anna observed as Jake's expression transformed, the wheels of his mind visibly turning. Hope nodded inside her, wishing he would embrace this new chapter alongside her. I see, Jake finally said, a blend of understanding and uncertainty clouding his gaze. I appreciate you being honest. But I have to ask, has there been something you've been afraid to share with me? Something that changes how we see each other? The question caught her off guard, but instead of withdrawing, a resolve formed within her. Yes, but it's part of this journey. Exploring my relationship with Camille has forced me to ask hard questions about my worth, our relationship, and what I want to achieve in life. As his gaze searched for answers, dread mingled with her determination. There was a trepidation about revealing everything, yet there was also an expectation would the truth liberate her, or put their connection to the ultimate test. Anna leaned forward, ready to unveil layers of uncharted territory, her heart racing with anticipation. What truths would surface from the depths of their conversation? What would it mean for both of them as they navigated this precarious terrain? The air crackled with potential as the hour of reckoning loomed closer. Would this moment change everything? She sensed they were teetering on the brink of a revelation that could redefine not only their bond, but also their own identities. Anna was ready to confront the unknown. What awaited them next hung heavily in the air, promising a cascade of consequences that could either fortify their connection or unravel it entirely. In that suspended moment, Anna felt the gravity of her choices. The sunlight streaked through the cafe window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air as if time itself paused to capture their vulnerability. Jake's expression reflected the apprehension swirling within her. She needed to break the silence, to proclaim her truth not just for him, but as a declaration of her emerging self. Jake, she began, her voice steady despite the apprehension knotting her stomach. I've always wanted to be accepted for who I truly am, yet I've often hidden parts of myself behind a veil of perfection. With Camille, I'm recognizing things in me I've overlooked. She took a breath, gathering the courage to continue. I've become accustomed to pleasing others, especially in our relationship. The admission felt like a stone dropping into a still pond, sending ripples of clarity and unease. There's a part of me that's fully aware there's more to life than simply going along with what's expected. Jake nodded slowly, digesting her words, and Anna observed the traits she had come to cherish in him. He was thoughtful, sensitive, aware of the nuances between them. But what she feared most was that this truth would shatter a stability she longed for. Each breath she took pulsed with the unspoken fears of abandonment and disappointment that had crowded her mind for too long. Have I held you back? Jake asked finally, his voice edged with worry. It struck Anna as both a question and a challenge. The moment crystallized into clarity. She saw how deep his affection ran, yet how fearful he might be of losing the very thing they had built. No, she replied swiftly, almost defensively. You deserve to see me as I am, without embellishments or roles. I've realized I need to be genuine to explore not just what's safe but what ignites me. The flicker in his eyes pivoted from concern to a glimmer of understanding, sparking a fresh charge in the air between them. But vulnerability opened more than it closed. Anna's resolve to be authentic clashed with the fear of unearthing deeper issues lurking beneath their relationship. What if that authenticity shakes things up? He ventured. The dread of answering left Anna exposed, but there lay a chance to surface truths both daunting and liberating. Then it has to, she said, defiance flickering in her heart. Maybe it's needed for both of us. If we're to evolve and pursue our dreams, we must wrestle with the uncomfortable. Their conversation shifted, exchanging truths that delved deeper into their fears and aspirations. They spoke of dreams deferred, of how easily they had fallen into patterns that suffocated their growth. For Anna, the dialogue revealed hidden facets of herself. A desire to embrace spontaneity, artistic ambition that clawed for expression, and an understanding of her worth beyond external validations. Yet as the weight of their revelations settled, one cold reality emerged: vulnerability could lead not just to authenticity, but potentially to disintegration. Anna held her breath, bracing for Jake's reaction. Would he embrace the challenge, or recoil from the unknown? She sensed his exploration of her words, visible in the tightening of his jaw and the flicking of his gaze. So, if I accept this side of you, he asked carefully, where does that leave us? The question hung heavy in the air, fueling Anna's determination. It's a risk, I know. But isn't it time we choose authenticity over comfort? Jake's silence echoed, casting a frightening shadow over her newfound power. The moment had come for them to confront the depths of their honesty, but would they surface together, or would the current of vulnerability sweep them apart? The cafe felt like an arena now, the stakes raised beyond mere conversation. They were at a precipice, facing the potential fracturing of the foundation they had built. Anna's heart raced as she awaited his next words, uncertain if their shared journey would endure or unravel. In that swirling uncertainty, a familiar thought surfaced. Should they dare to embrace the truths unearthed, or turn away, clinging to the safety of pretense? The tension coiled between them, brimming with uncharted possibilities, each moment pregnant with the promise of either connection or irreparable distance. Would they leap into the depths of self-discovery together? Or would the fear of truth push them apart forever? The answer lay just beyond the horizon, where vulnerability met courage. Anna's heart raced as the silence stretched, feeling like an eternity between breaths. The tension was palpable, heavy with expectation. Each passing moment threatened to reveal or bury their vulnerability. She studied Jake, searching for reassurance in his gaze, but only uncertainty reflected back at her. She clenched her fists, fiery determination colliding with her innate fears. Where do we go from here, Anna? Jake's question sliced through the silence, his voice wavering slightly. It forced her to confront the undeniable reality. They were a consequence of her awakening. We navigate this together, she replied, her throat tightening as the words clung to her lips. We talk about what scares us. I can't keep hiding who I am anymore. There was a strength in her voice, born out of necessity and fear, pushing her forward. His brow furrowed, shadowed by concern. And what if who you are scares me? Staring into the depths of Jake's eyes, Anna understood that both their fears were entwined in this moment. Then we face that fear, she said firmly. If I'm not being real, then what do we have? I refuse to shrink myself to fit your comfort. The cafe around them faded into oblivion. The sounds muted as they stood at the brink of transformation. She felt her ambitions, those vibrant threads of artistry that had lain dormant, tugging at her. To unleash herself could ignite not just their relationship but her very existence. What if we're not meant to change together? He said quietly, the weight of his words hanging heavy. That's a risk I'm willing to take, Anna declared, a flicker of hope igniting in her heart. Growth hurts, but it's necessary. If it means redefining our relationship, then I can't shy away from that. Jake's expression shifted, a myriad of emotions flitting across his face, worry warred with admiration. You're serious about this, aren't you? Yes. I've spent too much time being who I thought I was supposed to be. I can't live that way anymore. You may find that sides of me you never knew existed are worth embracing. Each word was a small rebellion, carving a path toward her authenticity. Then show me, he challenged gently, a note of encouragement hidden within his vulnerability. An exhilarating rush coursed through Anna, prompting her to step deeper into her yearning for both self-expression and connection. This moment, this embrace of the unknown, was a cornerstone of her evolution. I want to take risks, try new things, fully experience life beyond expectations. I want to be wild and creative, even if it terrifies me. His eyes widened with surprise at her candor, but there lingered a hint of intrigue beneath the surface. Like what? I've always been drawn to painting, sketching. Yet I've never really pursued it. I want to fill my world with color and chaos, to challenge myself creatively. The strangeness of her own admission sent shivers down her spine, leaving her exposed. A canvas awaited her, untamed yet inviting, just like the sentiments she now dared to explore with Jake. Uncertainty mixed with excitement filled her. What if he enjoyed this version of her? What if he didn't? That very question sparked an electric thrill as hope intertwined with trepidation. I want to support you, he finally said, a warmth seeping into his words, but I can't pretend I'm not afraid of losing what we have. That's exactly it. Her voice thrummed with urgency. We need to risk losing what we have to build something better. Something real. The vulnerability shared in their exchange marked a reluctant yet profound shift. It opened doors to new possibilities, yet leaves the terrain uncharted and daunting. As Anna sensed the pulse of change between them, she understood that this was not a mere conversation, but a pivotal moment that could redefine the course of her life and their relationship. Would Jake choose to venture into this new landscape with her, despite the risks? The question lingered in the air, thickening the atmosphere, marking the beginning of a deep journey fraught with uncertainty, but filled with potential for growth, creativity, and authenticity. And within that pulse lay the reflection of what was to come: an imminent confrontation with their pasts, and the challenge of forging a fearless future together. Anna took a deep breath, determination surging within her as she awaited Jake's response, knowing full well that the stakes were higher than ever before. Would he rise to meet her courage, or would he retreat into his own fears, sealing the door to an entirely different version of their lives? Jake's silence loomed over Anna, a gaping void filled with questions neither of them dared to voice. The moment felt endless, yet within that stillness crackled an urgency, driving her thoughts to cascade like paint splattering across an empty canvas. What if she could remain true to herself while welcoming the fear that loomed? This was no longer just about her desires. It was also about sculpting a new narrative for their relationship. "Anna," he said finally, pulling her from the spiral of her musings, "I admire your courage." But his hesitation cut deeper than she anticipated. "What if you find that this journey changes you too much? What if we drift away from one another?" Drifting. The very word sent chills down her spine, evoking the relentless streams of isolation she had felt before. It was a necessary fear, one she had to confront. "Maybe that's part of the process," she replied, meeting his gaze with a steadiness that belied her internal chaos. "Maybe growing apart is just as valid as growing together." Jake's brow furrowed, and for a moment, Anna feared he might retreat into silence again. Instead, he leaned closer, a spark igniting in his eyes. "What if you become someone I can't recognize? What if I can't follow you there?" The honesty in his voice pricked at her confidence. She mulled over his words, weighing their implications. She'd spent years conforming to the expectations of others, fearing rejection while cultivating a self that wasn't enough. But here was her chance. The artistic revolution within her was calling. "I don't want to become unrecognizable. I want to discover parts of myself that have always been there, waiting to emerge," she articulated, feeling invigorated by her own resolve. "But what if the person you become isn't meant to be with me?" His earnestness hung like a weight, anchoring her aspirations to the ground. Pain knotted in her chest, but she held his gaze, unwilling to let doubt cloud their moment. "Then it has to be a journey worth taking. Isn't that the essence of love? To grow as individuals, even if it means we don't become who we expect each other to be." His expression softened, the vulnerability shifting to reflection. A part of her wanted him to grasp the depths of her yearning, her insatiable desire to create, to bridge gaps that had long isolated her from herself. "But what if these changes are too much for me to handle? Don't you see how complicated this becomes? I want to support you, but I don't know whether I can embrace who you might become, Anna." Each word was weighted with uncertainty, a battle between love and fear. Her heart raced with a new realization. This wasn't merely about her journey. It was also about Jake's path, navigating alongside her as they each carved identities. "What if I falter and find myself afraid? I need you to see me through that lens for every staggering step I take. I want your presence." Jake scrutinized her, a tempest of emotions crossing his features. "What if I struggle to be that person for you? Then we uncover new paths together," she suggested, a flicker of hope dancing in her chest. "Each struggle will shape us, whether we go forward together or find ourselves needing to step apart. But we owe it to ourselves to try." Silence enveloped them again, but this time it was tinted with promise. Anna felt an electric energy between them. They were on the cusp of redefining their relationship, not through what they feared, but through what they could eventually become together if they chose to embrace the unknown. "How about we experiment?" she proposed, her voice growing steadier. "Let us paint together, literally. We'll create art even if it's messy. I'll dip my brush in colors I've never used, and you can explore how that feels for you too." It was a spontaneous challenge, but it ignited something within her, a commitment to move beyond words into tangible action. Jake was silent for a moment, digesting the invitation. Then, with a hesitant smile breaking through, he nodded. Okay, let us paint. As the weight of their conversation settled into the warmth of possibility, Anna felt clarity surge within her. This was a commitment to create, to confront the uncertainty embedded in their lives. But would the brushstrokes reveal harmony, or expose the fractures of their uncharted vulnerability? With newfound determination, Anna stood at the threshold of her artistic awakening, aware that each stroke on the canvas would both illuminate and challenge their relationship. Would the colors they blended create a masterpiece, or would it become an abstract chaos reflecting the complexities of their journey together? The thrill of what lay ahead consumed her thoughts as she gathered her materials. A bold venture was about to unfold, one that would demand courage, creativity, and perhaps a confrontation of their deepest fears. Would they emerge united, or find the rifts of change too formidable to bridge? Anna stood before the blank canvas, a palpable silence enveloping the room. The palette of colors lay before her like an undiscovered landscape, each hue promising a journey into the unknown. Nervous energy thrummed in her veins. This was no simple act of creativity. It was a catalyst for change, not just outwardly, but within her very essence. As she dipped the brush into vibrant crimson, she was struck by a wave of uncertainty. What if her bold strokes tainted the canvas, creating a distorted reflection of who she wanted to become? Yet beneath that fear lay an exhilarating possibility, a chance to express her innermost feelings, to let her creativity carve a path through uncertainty. Here goes nothing, Anna murmured, pressing the bristles to the canvas with decisive motion. The deep red flowed across the surface as if it had a life of its own, spilling emotion that surging in her chest. With each brushstroke, she unearthed layers within herself that had long been buried under convention. Not bad for a first attempt, Jake offered, standing quietly beside her, their shoulders brushing as if to fortify the silent connection between them. Just wait until I really get going, she replied determinedly, her heart pounding with newfound fervor. This was her artistic language, a voice she suppressed for too long. She wanted him more than anything to see her as she was, raw and vibrant. Jake, uncharacteristically quiet, was sketching alongside her. His hesitant strokes revealed an innate talent she had only glimpsed in small moments. It was enlightening and unnerving to see him embrace this new activity. The juxtaposition of their artistic expressions was fascinating. She was the storm while he appeared as the steady river. What do you think? She asked, glancing at his work. Are you afraid of what I'll unleash? Jake chuckled nervously, his eyes scanning the swirling mix of colors on the canvas, contemplating each smattering of paint. I think I'm more worried you'll lose control and create chaos, he teased, his smile illuminating the tension hanging between them. Chaos could lead to something beautiful, Anna countered, deepening her resolve. Each playful exchange redirected her focus. Perhaps their shared uncertainty could become their greatest strength, a means to navigate through artistic chaos and relationship tensions alike. As the colors mingled, Anna found herself lost in the process, absorbed by the rhythmic motion of the brush against the canvas. Time seemed to slip away, her thoughts morphing into a conscious flow of paint, a reflection of her internal landscape. Yet beneath her exhilaration, a knot of doubt persisted. What if this endeavor highlighted rifts instead of bonding them? With their relationship still wafting in the air, so fragile and new, what if this vulnerability exposed cracks rather than healing them? The weight of the paintbrush forced Anna into profound introspection. She realized that Jake must confront his fears too. To find value in their individuality, they both must let go of what they thought defined them. Vulnerability didn't mean weakness. It was a willingness to explore the uncharted depths of their beings. Can you give me a hand with this? She asked, gesturing at a section of the canvas that longed for vibrant splashes of color. His initial reluctance shifted as he approached her, brushes poised as they navigated the painting together. Each color choice transformed into a subtle dialogue, a melding of choices that teased both the beauty of collaboration and the risk of misalignment. Do you think we'll understand each other better after this? Jake inquired, hesitance lacing his voice. Yes, but we'll also uncover more questions, Anna admitted. The answers won't come easy, and some might be uncomfortable. But that's the beauty of this journey, right? With laughter sparking between them, Anna pressed further forward, infusing the canvas with her fears and hopes. There was a growing realization that this wasn't merely about the artwork. They were in the throes of defining their evolving selves and their place in each other's lives. As they painted, tension crackled in the air, a precursor to revelations that would surface like unexpected hues on the canvas. Would their experience bring them closer? Or would it reveal the fractures that lay beneath the surface? The picture began to take shape, its chaotic composition blooming with potential just like their relationship. But the essential question remained. In the process of creation, would they remain standing side by side, or find themselves drifting apart in the overwhelming tide of self-discovery? The moment carried weight, thick with anticipation and uncertainty. The paintbrush hovered, embodying both promise and peril, as they prepared to uncover truths that could alter the very foundation of their bond. Would the act of creation foster resilience? Or would it expose the core vulnerabilities threatening to shatter everything they had built together? As the colorful swirls on the canvas began to mirror Anna's inner tumult, she felt an unshackling take hold. Each stroke released fragments of worry, fear, and anticipation that had once fused her to the ground. The colors intertwined with purpose, creating a chaotic but beautiful tapestry just like the unpredictable journey of her life thus far. With every brushstroke, the belief in her worth solidified. Her hands, once merely functional, transformed into instruments of expression, guiding her to reclaim not only her artistry but also her autonomy. This is it, she thought as she mixed bold pigments. This is the me I've hidden for too long. Jake stood beside her, pen poised, bravely exploring his canvas alongside hers. He filled the void with intricate lines that complemented her chaotic bursts of color, representing a beautiful evolution of sorts. They were navigating uncharted waters, treading on the cusp of revealing their true selves, both in the art and as individuals. It's more than colors. It's about us understanding who we really want to be. Anna turned to him, a mixture of excitement and uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Exactly, he replied, the weight of their conversation looming over their artistic endeavors. But Anna, what if this leads us to paths we didn't foresee? And there it was, the essence of their journey. Vulnerability was a bridge to be crossed, with the potential to not only connect them but also to expose the deep-seated fears that had festered in the corners of their lives. As the afternoon sun streamed through the window, illuminating their vibrant canvas, Anna felt a rush of empowerment. This was her declaration of resilience and growth. She wasn't merely surviving or conforming. She was succeeding in finding her voice, her identity. The echo of Camille's mockery lingered but transformed into a reminder of the strength derived from overcoming judgment, even when it came from unexpected places. And that moment, a warmth enveloped Anna. Through the chaos and competition she had found clarity. She wasn't just a mother or a nurse. She was an artist, and that realization filled her with unearned pride. I have conquered my insecurities, she whispered under her breath, not just to Jake but also to the universe. Jake studied her, taking in the radiance that wrapped around her newfound confidence. You're incredible, Anna, he affirmed, genuine awe painting his features. The recognition of her personal journey from anonymity to authenticity was no longer a theoretical idea. It was now intricately woven into every detail of the day. They worked in silence for a moment, the rhythm of their creative expressions echoing the quiet camaraderie that had blossomed between them. The canvas came alive, capturing the essence of what they were both beginning to understand about themselves and each other. After what felt like hours of exploration, they stepped back to admire their combined work, a tapestry that encapsulated their fears, dreams, and the thrilling uncertainty of what lay ahead. We did that, Anna said, her voice barely above a whisper, a sense of accomplishment radiating through her. Yes, we did. Jake agreed, admiration in his gaze. In that moment, Anna knew she had achieved something substantial, not just in the painting but within herself. She had dismantled the perceptions that bound her, proving she could occupy space with pride. Her path would be paved with new ambitions, and uncertainties would be met with courage rather than retreat. Let us celebrate this, Jake suggested, an idea sparking within him. Let us show this to Camille. At first Anna hesitated. The prospect of facing Camille again felt daunting. But then she recognized an opportunity for growth. Okay, she nodded, heart racing with both excitement and fear. Camille, too, had her own insecurities hidden beneath the polished surface. Perhaps they could navigate a collaborative path rather than remain adversaries. With newfound clarity, Anna was ready to not only embrace who she was but to redefine her relationships within the context of her truths. And as they prepared to venture forward, she understood that success was not merely about external measures but about the authentic journey each took within and together. The boldness of their canvas glowed with potential, but more importantly, it ignited within Anna a deep-seated recognition that she would no longer shy away from pursuing her passions, her dreams, or the relationships that mattered most. She had proven to herself that vulnerability led to power, and this was only the beginning. Embracing this revelation as a rite of passage, Anna took a deep breath, ready to paint the next chapter of her life. The call to action rang clearly in her mind. You need to subscribe now for more powerful stories of courage and transformation. Leave a like now to boost the algorithm, and make sure you comment with your reactions and theories about this extraordinary journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this conclusion in their own lives. This is the moment to show your support and join in this transformative adventure.